Hey guys, what's up? So if you've been watching my other videos and you know I've been trying to tighten up my steering, and one of the last things I wanted to do was kind of get rid of a small little play, my power steering gear here. So I'm actually pretty lucky. A lot of these trucks, it's really hard to get to, and you have to take a bunch of stuff off to get to the top of the power steering gear. But this is actually an aftermarket one. This is a 442 box, rock hard box for the early Bronco. But yeah, it's easy to get to the top of it. Well, I can't get to it 100% because I have an aftermarket air box, but then you kind of get some relation to where it's at here. But I have a couple of these small screwdrivers I can get to, hopefully. And what you want to do is lift the truck up on jack stands if you can. And this is actually the nut that you see right there is just a lock nut, and that keeps this internal screw from spinning around. So what you first do is you just loosen that lock nut up, and the little screws right there on the top, and I just spin this about a quarter of a turn until the gears kind of mesh up. But the trick is not to get your steering to bind, because I've actually done that before and it's kind of sketchy. So you gotta make an adjustment, kind of drive around, or just kind of spin it back and forth on jack stands and kind of get a feel for it. But the gears, they kind of if you're watching my other videos, I rebuilt a power steering gearbox, but it really actually helps to know how these things work, to know what you're doing. You know, actually having the gears mesh in. But alright, so I just wanted to show you this page, so it might make more sense if you see pictures, because you can't really see what's going on inside the gearbox. But so what happens is, if you take a look at this, hopefully you can see on my screen what's going on, but the gears, when you tighten that screw, it's meshing the gear, it's tightening the gear, so it's bringing one gear down into it. So see how these teeth right here are kind of angled like that? See, it's kind of rounded and it goes like this. Well, what you're doing is you're bringing the gears in closer. So here, and actually that's what tightens and loosens it. But the problem is when it's too tight, it binds. It doesn't want to do that. So it goes like that. It wants to bind up and not do that. So what you're doing is, like I said, with that adjuster screw, you're just bringing one up and down and kind of meshing it into the actual the slots here. So hopefully that makes more sense. So I mean, typically I do like about a quarter at a time, quarter turn. I test it, and I come back out, maybe drive it, and you'll know because it'll be tight to kind of steer. You'll be doing that. So just be careful with that. Just take your time, and like once you tighten it, it's going to take a while for the gears to remesh. So like what it does, it kind of builds like a wear pattern into the gears. So cool, guys, awesome. All right, so for me, about a half turn really tightened up my steering a lot. It's not perfect yet because you don't want to totally make it tight, because you'll know that it becomes hard to steer. So let me show you this real quick. This definitely is a lot tighter than that used to be. I mean, this used to be a lot worse than that. So, I mean, some of that play is actually, there's nothing I can even do about it. Yeah, I mean, it's play in those CV joints, the steering CV joints, play in that stuff. Because I replaced a lot of that stuff, so it's not there. So, plus my steering gear is a little bit loose right there. So I don't know if the bearing's going out or what. But, yeah, pretty basic. So I'm going to probably come back in about a week or two, maybe tighten it down a little bit more. Because it takes about a week or so. It takes a little while for the gears to mesh or to kind of wear themselves in. So if you ever taken a steering gear apart, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's the teeth. What this thing is doing is lowering teeth up and down, angled teeth. So pretty easy. Yeah, I'm glad it's easy to access, because in this F250, I got to do the same thing for this F250, and you can't even see it. The steering gear, it's like underneath the battery in the air cleaner box. So I gotta take a whole lot of stuff out just to get to access to the top of it. But all right, guys, cool. All set.